Skiff. I've got Rob Cunningham coming on here in a second. We got a lot to talk about. Let me check where Bitcoin is right now. We're looking at up $4,300. XRP is around 147. So we're getting a little dead cat bounce today. Whether it's dead or not, we'll see. But I want to bring Rob in right now. And let's talk crypto. Rob, thanks for coming on, my man.
It's my pleasure, brother. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Yeah, I'm ready for the weekend. It's been a long week, man. Working hard.
Wow. It's been like 10 years and 5 days.
Well, as I said just now, we're getting maybe a dead cat bounce or some kind of bounce. I tend to think there's probably going to be some more selling, and maybe this is just retail throwing off and picking up some of the slack, and institutions getting rid of some of the inventory they have. But what do you think, and that's just really based on technicals and markets, my experience, not really about the product itself. But tell me what your thoughts are on crypto here right now.
Yeah, it's the thesis playing itself out. Hold on, give me just one quick second if you don't mind.
Yeah.
I'd love to bring my audience in because I think
Sure. We like it when you bring your audience in too.
Let's see. Okay, I think it's starting. So, Todd, in essence, we are the thesis all along for, if you will, the original idea of distributed ledger technology is to flip the money changer tables of corruption and bring in an honest monetary system, one that's not built on debt and opacity and NGO control with no direct governance from even the president of the United States. We've heard Alan Greenspan, and we've heard, even Jerome Powell say that the Fed is distinctively separate and above even the president of the United States. He can't touch us, right? You can't fire a board governor for mortgage fraud. We're in charge here, not you, right? So from all along, we've known that this NGO that runs this world reserve currency post Bretton Woods detached from gold has been run by a bunch of nefarious entities that don't have our best interest in mind.
Yeah, sure.
So when you start to shake off this infrastructure, you have to have this new, fully transparent, fully accountable, fully reconcilable system that all parties can trust. Todd, we were never going from the world reserve currency known as the Federal Reserve to letting China run the world, to letting Russia run the world or India run. We weren't going back to who's the next tyrannical asshole that's going to run the world, right? We weren't just kicking that can. We were fundamentally transforming the system. And so what does it look like when you begin to do a frame-off restoration of a 747 in flight and people have printed money? In this movie that's about to come out called Money Disrupted, one of the contributors mentioned that over 40% of all the dollars in circulation in the history of the United States have been introduced since 2020. Wow. It's just been a counterfeit printing machine. So what has happened? People have bought the crypto, they bought the hype, they've leveraged the crypto as collateral, and they've gone out and bought stuff on top of this leverage. They've gone out and bought gold, they've gone out and bought silver, they've gone out and bought companies. Then crypto, when these markets begin to crash, it creates a flywheel of margin calls.
Yeah,
sure. It requires this unwinding, but what's really being unwound, Todd, is this cotton candy of fiat currency that was never backed by anything.
Well, that's what I meant when I was saying that I don't think the action in crypto really had anything to do with the underlying product. It's more just market technicals, as you said, leveraged up. I remember back in the day when one of my colleagues was working with a guy who had a big company in Atlanta and had all of his net worth in the stock. Stock was around $10, new IPO, classic situation. I was at Robinson Humphrey at the time. And he owned most of the stock, and he leveraged a lot, houses, cars, everything. And the guy was on vacation. And I remember the guy who was working with him, my colleague, the stock started crashing, and the manager came in the office and said, sell, sell, sell. Didn't even call the client. And so it just kept selling. And he had to call the guy and say, look, I'm sorry, but all your net worth is gone.
We
Like at the end of
had
the
to
day.
liquidate it all. Right.
Yeah. So that is the house saving itself. Right. And that's what I mean by market technicals. This really was more of a classic bubble that popped more than anything, I think, with the crypto itself. But what say you?
Here's the perfect scriptural analogy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Tower of Babylon moment. Everything shakes like hell. There's a great shaking. Everything that's fraudulent and dishonest and built on false assumptions and presumptions crumbles to the side. The only thing left standing is what's true, what's
Yeah.
real,
Yeah.
what's got value. Because value, you can't destroy value. You can destroy myths, but you can't destroy value. I mean, value is what value is. And Todd, I think what we're going to see too in this great shaking is that what is infrastructure? What is actual technology? What do relationship equities look like? How does a board of peace replace the United Nations? Right? How does honest money, where equal weights and measures flows around the entire infrastructure of the world instead of the Rothschild fiat counterfeit money system? And we're really at Todd, we're at an inflection point. And look, when it's all said and done, there might be 2 or 3% of the cryptos that are out there left. We very well may find there's a whole bunch of pets.coms in the crypto world, and they were just theoretical, and they were hyped, and the media let us hype them, and we got into these echo chambers, and everybody talked about stuff, and there was a big 10 years of gossip with very thin understanding of the mathematics, the technicals, the patents, the implications of when you introduce a sound, honest money system in replacement of a dishonest, counterfeit, private cartel, as G. Edward Griffin has called it. Since 1913, the Federal Reserve was a cartel of the 25% of the world's most powerful bankers and politicians that represented 25% of the world's wealth, created a cartel to regulate itself and call it law. Okay, and that house of cards, that self-regulatory cartel is dead. And we're seeing the body flop on the table right now, right? But there's going to be a monetary system. There's going to be an honest infrastructure system. It's just not going to be this 1913 creature from Jekyll Island.
So I was almost thinking that there was kind of a Empire Strike Back moment here where people were trying to destroy the narrative of crypto, or the theory, the way forward, as you would say.
They're at the anger, Todd. They're at the anger stage. They're at that violent flopping. They're if you think of it as that, strung out heroin addict who's terrorizing, abusing his ex-wife, and got his arm around her neck and a gun to her head, saying, "If I can't have her, no one can have her." Mm-hmm. I mean, that's almost where we are with the old institutional tyrants that have put us in debt slavery, that soaked us in $38 trillion worth of debt and regulated the hell out of us. They're like, over our dead body, can you take away our monopoly systems? We've been controlling this joint. And to your point, that's what it's not necessarily, it's an evil empire strikes back, but they're trying to strike back at timeless, immutable, systems of openness and transparency and mathematical accountability and infrastructure that's true and honest in order to keep their perverted control system in place. And I think that's just what we're seeing. We're seeing this unwinding on the 250th year anniversary with all these people coming to America, the Clarity Act this far from being signed. Todd, I think the last time we spoke, and I've said this, when law is signed and we have clarity in the crypto capital of the world, $2.5 to $3 quadrillion will then begin to move in accordance with those laws. Right now, the crypto capital of the world that represents 25% of the world's GDP and that is ushering in this brand new honest monetary system still don't have laws signed into place yet, because the Democrats and those that are pay for and capture and control, even the rhinos and the Democrats, don't seem to be able to want to put a signature on this Clarity Act.
Yeah.
But when law is in place, quadrillions of dollars will leave the old perverted system and move to the new system.
Let me ask you, because I'm not an expert on crypto, and there's a lot of different moving parts, but there's an issue that's come up with that was in a lot of the financial press over the last week about a problem with Bitcoin, and I want to know if it correlates also to some of the other coins like XRP or others, where it's address reuse vulnerability. Have you heard of that? Where, if an address is used many times and they can take that and then pair it with quantum computing and possibly, crack and steal all those coins. And they're saying maybe 40% of Bitcoin has this problem because the addresses have been reused over and over. And so it's known in the system. Do you know anything about that? And one, and two, how does XRP deal with? Is that similar, or do you know?
Yeah, look, we have to deal with at the highest of high levels, quantum security protocols. When quantum, because everything right now, I don't care what it is quantum resistant. Okay, quantum resistant means we're not there yet, but we can still hack you when the quantum computers get more powerful.
Yeah.
Okay, so right now we have this ratchety old piece together 10-layer security systems where everybody sells routers and software and antivirus softwares, and there's a combination of robotics and machine learning and layered antivirus softwares and routers and human interaction, trying to keep things data safe and wallet safe and information from being hacked. Okay, knowing that it's not fail safe, you get people, hackers, China, MI6, CIA, going out and stealing as much data as they can, or capturing as much data as they can so they can hack it later. They go, we can't hack it now, but we want to get our arms around it. So in 5 years from now, when the computer power gets even faster and better, more sophisticated, then we'll be able to get in and get the data. So we have been living in that environment, Todd. What we have to realize is that we have to get to a far greater level of perfect secrecy, perfect sovereign secrecy that is unhackable, because you can't, it's the idea of edge computing. You can't hack what you can't see. And if you're not permissioned into a system, you can't see in it. You can't track your eating habits or your movie patterns or your travel history, right? And if you can't hack in and see the profile of Todd, your behavior, my behavior, what I buy, sell, where I travel, then you can't fractionalize that and sell that data to marketing to other companies that want to sell me stuff, right? I have to opt in and let you see whatever I want you to see. It's kind of like the concept of
like a whitelist almost.
I'm sorry?
Like a whitelist?
It's almost like a white, sure, of course. From a UBI standpoint, Todd, think about this. If you had all your rights and no one was allowed to come in and illegally search your personal effects and property, unless you let them come in, but you'll let them come in for $5 a month, and you let 1,000 people come in for $5 a month. I get to permission who comes into my house and sees my stuff. You don't get to do it just because you exist. That level taken into a technological world is, you can't see me. You don't know I exist. Maybe I can interact with you with what's called zero knowledge proofs, which means I walk up to a nightclub and they want to know I'm over 21. I can tap a button and it goes, yep, over 21. They don't need to see anything else. They don't need my home address. They don't need my height and my weight. They don't need my driver's license number. They just need a yes or no. I'm in. They're covered. I'm covered. You don't get to see anything else. We need that level of technology in every walk of life. Every single thing we do, whether we're getting a car loan, whether we're going into a restaurant, getting on an airplane, we ought to be able to go, dude, you got what you need? Good. That's all you need. You don't need my social security number, my address, my iris scan. You don't need any of that. All of my stuff is in a cryptographically perfectly secured vault, and it can be tapped to give just the minimum amount of information. That is what the idea behind zero knowledge proof is. My daughter does not have to give up all of her information to get into a nightclub and hope that the person that, didn't take down her address and knocks on her door at 3:00 in the morning. 21. Yep. Beep. She's got it. No more. You don't need anything else from me. Extrapolate that a million times. Okay. I need to get on
where we're going, Rob, or there's
yes.
a lot of worry out there that is.
Rob, we have the technology today, but the problem is people don't want it. The technology that we have available to us today with investors right here in Atlanta that are in the Azure AI Foundry marketplace with technology ready to go is as disruptive to the infrastructure of IT as XRP is, and is disruptive to the infrastructure of banking. It cuts out all the middlemen. It cuts out all the fat. Cuts out all the friction. It cuts out all the Cisco routers. It cuts out all the IT programmers. The security theater, this hokey pokey theater that people like to claim that, well, that contract, I can't. We're talking the infrastructure of telecom. We're talking the infrastructure of broadcasting, what we're doing right now, IP protocol, banking protocols, every utility. If people can hack our utility system, they can turn our water systems off and our power grids off. If they can't find the grid to hack, they can't get in unless they're whitelisted in or permissioned in. But the implications of this perfect security, Shannon's perfect secrecy type, not crypto resistant, crypto proof to quantum proof security is different than resistant protocols that we have today.
This is a special report.
Knowing how to invest your money is harder than ever before. Dealing with stock market volatility, record debt, and terrorist attacks requires new thinking. At U.S. Asset Management, we can help you see the world more clearly so that you can move beyond the chaos and invest with confidence. Call us, visit us online, or drop by our office. U.S. Asset Management, helping you make better decisions with your money.
A warm welcome here at the National Press Club. Welcome to the journalists, welcome to the Embraer team, and welcome to the other guests that we have here. I'm going to announce, and as some of you guessed it right when they came in, the first E2 order by an American operator. And that operator is Avello. We believe this is really a strategic shift to unlock profitability for the customer. I'm very pleased that we have Andrew Levy here as the CEO of Avello, and I'm very pleased to give the stage to share a little bit more about what Avello is going to do with the E2 195. Thank you very much.
Couldn't be more excited to be here as part of this historic announcement. We have such a great cultural fit as companies, so we're very, very excited to be Embraer's newest customer. We launched our airline in April of 21, and our target is focusing on small secondary airports of large metro areas. We've carried over 8 million customers since we started on 63,000 flights. And we've done all these things with 1,200 of the greatest crew members I could ever imagine having, and many of them are here with me today. This is the right airplane for us. It's going to open up opportunities for us that no other aircraft can serve. The best thing about the airplane, of course, is you will not find a middle seat on this airplane. It doesn't exist. We won't have any to offer. It's going to be the best cabin in the United States, and we're so excited about that. This is going to elevate our experience to the highest level, and we think our customers are absolutely going to love the airplane.
Well, that sounds wonderful, but you've got Palantir out there. You've got all these people who their job is to know all this stuff.
Not unhackable is unhackable. Yeah, well, so that's what we're told, right? DARPA knows it all. The CIA knows it all. We're just little people. We should just sit down, shut up, and take their word for it. They're from the government, and they're here to help.
Right.
No, they're from the government, and they're there to consolidate and control everything.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Shannon's perfect secrecy, a distributed ledger technology that runs on math. No one can own math. No one can own a perfect protocol that's either true or false. And it doesn't matter if you're DARPA or the king or the queen, or it doesn't matter who you are, right? So if we have these principles that can be codified and tied, there's no way you're going to find me, know where I am, find my server, find my database, find the profile of Rob Cunningham unless I let you find me because I'm in control. Then we have a mutual consent agreement. Otherwise,
what is the name of this technology you're talking? Because this is new to me. I mean, this would solve the privacy issue. It would solve a lot of things. But
there's a if you'll go to qsmart.ai,
Mhm.
it's an Atlanta-based company with some of the most brilliant people you'll have ever met. They are speaking to people at the highest levels. Their Genesis sovereign AI is already approved and in the Microsoft Azure Foundry AI. It's scalable, it's ready. Anyone that uses Copilot or Microsoft is by far probably one of the most highly disciplined, difficult compliance regimes to have anything made available to their global network. And this firm is inside their Foundry AI, and anybody in the world can adopt their protocol. But the issue, Todd, is political correctness. It's political infrastructure. It's leaning on the legacy systems, and there's a lot of best way to say it is career clingers. People are scared to death. They're scared to death of AI. They're scared to death of crypto. They're scared to death of change. They're scared to death of innovation, of finding their entire industry wiped out because they don't need all this bloat, this staffing, and all of this stuff to keep the blockbuster model running when Netflix changes everything. So you've got a lot of career clingers in highest levels of the executive suites that, they just don't want to hear this story, because if it's true, then they need about 10% of their staff.
Yeah.
And how do they even go about managing that? What would that look like on the other side? So I would rather not even think about the other side. So it's kind of like a la 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 la. They kind of don't want to hear what the implications are. They're that profound.
Wow, it's all new to me. I hope you're right, Rob. We're gonna have to stay on this. What do you think of the markets in general? Is crypto probably bottoming in this range, or has it got another?
Well, again, I hate to use the word crypto because it's such a colloquial term. It represents the entire, it paints the whole brush, the whole industry as one. Distributed ledger technology with tokens that have actual utility and use case and leadership teams that provide value to the world. I think it's a great time. It's a vindication and a validation of utility tokens that exist with purpose, with leadership, with proven track records of bringing value and customers. If there's functionality and reality and purpose, then look, no system in the world just pops up out of nowhere and exists in the ethersphere by itself. So these meme tokens that will show up with 3 people and pump and dump strategies, and everybody hypes it, and everybody goes, "Oh, have you heard about the next new XYZ token?" They don't last, Todd. They're just an idea playing on people's human emotions and greed and excitement and ignorance.
Well, it's very similar to the internet craze back in the day.
Yes, 100%, or the tulip bulb craze, or whatever craze you want to point to. People can get worked up and lathered, and then that lather has to. That lather has to go away. And so you got to clear the wheat from the chaff. And we're having one of those great shaking moments, not only in the collapse of the Rothschild system and the swamp and the deep state and all the corruption. We're seeing it now. What we're seeing in California, Todd, is about 60 or 80 times bigger than what we saw in Minnesota.
Yeah, I know. It's really bad.
It's insane. So all of this fake money, all of this circular, and this fake money gets washed between the fake money printers, the fake banks, the fake politicians that the banks buy, the fake policies that launder the money in healthcare regimes and pay the local politicians to keep it all quiet, and then call you and I every name in the book when we ask questions about it.
Yeah.
Right. So this entire system of opacity and counterfeit money backed by nothing is being replaced by transparency, and sound money replaced by accountability and reconciliation and instant settlement. So it's going from trust me, bro, we're from the government, we're in charge, we're here to help, to trustlessness that can be verifiable by the world. Those are opposite spectrums, Todd.
Oh, they are. It sounds like Nirvana. We'll stay
No,
on
no,
it.
no, 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 not Nirvana. All it does is put truth in front of the world. The world still has to take action. The world still has to adult. The world still has to adjudicate those that refuse to accept truth. Okay. The fact that there's transparency levels the playing field, you still got to go to the gym. You still got to work out. You still have to build a company. You still have to work honestly with one another, but at least you're not bartering in tokenized slave chains. I
Yeah.
mean, a dollar bill is a token. It's a paper token, but it's a paper token backed by nothing based on lies. If you've got an actual US dollar from the treasury that's backed by gold and you can swap it around the world and it's verifiably backed by gold and it's not overinflated, then it's a truth token instead of a lie token. You still have to build the company and write the book and do the movie and build the house. People still have to take action. The big difference is we're going to do it in an ecosystem based on honest value and honest weights and measures, and not a story spun to us by the Rothschilds.
Well, on that note, let's talk about you mentioned, corruption. Let's move to Georgia since you're involved.
Let's move to Georgia.
So Fed raid, now they're pushing back. There's a lawsuit to try to get the ballots back. What's your sense of what's happening in Georgia? Because you have the GOP now coming out. We want paper ballots. I mean, to me, that's laughable. But what say you?
It's sheer panic, and everybody is running. Everybody's running to cover their butts. Everybody knows they're caught. From Rob Pittman, Rob Pitts or whatever his name is, talking about arrests are imminent, all the way from the Secretary of State down to Gene Sterling or Gabriel, whatever his name is, and there's a lot of people. The 700 boxes ain't coming back. Okay, the President of the United States has every right in the world to investigate treason, and what this allegation is treason. Vote interference, vote manipulation, vote fraud is an attack on the infrastructure of the United States of America, and to do that is an act of treason. So the commander-in-chief has every right to keep our nation safe. And if these people are defending a treasonous vote laundering system, they're all guilty of treason. And
Kemp's been really quiet, I noticed.
I'm sorry?
Kemp has not said anything about this.
Haven't heard a word from him, have you?
No.
No. So look, the fish rots from the head down. We've got problems. We all know it. You look at the 5 states that they corrupted to steal the 2020 election: Arizona, Georgia, right? Pennsylvania. We know the states, we know where they did it, but let's connect some dots. My understanding is, Todd, that Maduro has been singing like Whitney Houston since he's been arrested. And that has been that has been the world's capital of election laundering for decades. Okay. From Cuba to Venezuela to Maduro to Arizona to Georgia to Dominion Software and Smartmatics. They own the software, they own the hardware, they own the patents, they know it, they can remote in. The entire ecosystem of election laundering was right there in Venezuela. And they used it for narco terrorism. They funded ultimately, if you want to control the world, you control the elections. And they've got the headquarters of the election mafia cartel. He's singing like a bird. And this is a matter of military importance, Todd. This is not going to go through the admiralty law system with Fannie Willis's adjudicating this process with 9 years of going all the way up the food chain to the Supreme Court and crossing our fingers that they're not corrupt too. This is Uniform Code of Military Justice and the civilian court system that we know of from the Supreme Court down are night and day different entities. All that we're talking about, Todd, is military intelligence, Uniform Code of Military Justice, tribunals, and judge processes that have to do with national security. It's way past fining somebody or giving somebody probation or making somebody just step down for office because they were party and parcel to treason. It's way past that.
I hope we see action. I have been very pleasantly surprised being on the inside at the Pentagon. It's a sharp outfit, a sharp team. They've got their act together. They're focused. They're young, but they're focused and really professional. And the output I'm seeing is fantastic. So
It is
um,
brilliant. It's
yeah,
inspiring.
it is. It is. Rob, how do people follow you? Where can they find your show? All of that stuff.
Yeah, Cool Show on X, or cool.show is my website, and I'm just so excited, Todd, that it's completely overhauled. It's about to be brand new launch
Oh,
here in
wow.
the next date, hopefully today, if not this weekend. So give that a little bit of time, but please go to kuwl.show. And I'd be remiss, Todd, if, in line with this conversation that we just had,
Mhm.
the movie Money Disrupted debuts live um, on the 19th of February. And
Wow.
it features the feature lead actor is Mr. G. Edward Griffin himself,
Wow.
who wrote the expose on the creature from Jekyll Island, the Federal Reserve, and this entire phony banking cartel system that Donald Trump came down the escalator to end. And you're going to have some of the biggest names in the world talking about why it was a cartel, why it was a fraud, who built it, who benefited from it. And what you and I are talking about all the time is who's going to benefit from its demise.
Well, we're gonna have you back after that launches, and after we watch it, and we'll put out something so the audience can find it. Really appreciate you coming on, Rob. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
All right, man. Take care.